Good evening, all. So, continuing with this video series on cultivating humility, right? Which is an essential requirement for sharing knowledge contained in spiritual scripture. We have to get the right mindset, get the right heart space in order to share information contained, knowledge contained in any religious scripture, right? So that is what this mini series is about. About 7 or 8 videos on this topic I'll be doing, right? So this is the 4th video on that, cultivating humility, right? And by the way, all of these videos are in fact intertwined with the scripture, knowledge contained in the scripture. It is not separate, but it's just a means or a process. It's a process to get your heart space and mind frame in the right space so that one can go through and then disseminate the information or the knowledge contained in scripture, right? So my last video we talked about hey, how you going? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so in the last video we talked about refraining from self idolatry, which is not putting yourself up on a pedestal, right? Nor putting anybody else up on a pedestal, right? And this could be in the celebrity world, it could be in the spiritual world, in the political world, in entertainment, whatever the case be, right? It could be in any arena, right? Not putting anybody up on a great height. It is okay to have favorite people, have people that you like, have people that you admire. I like your jacket, right? I like how you speak, right? I like how you deliver your message. I like all these things about you, right? But I will not say, hey, you are my God, right? So that's essentially what idolatry is, not making any human being your God, right? So just that recap. And whatever was the second thing I talk about, right? You all could go back in the video and watch it, right? Right, the concept of heaven and hell and whatnot are not scaring people. So whether heaven or hell is real, right? I don't know, right? But whether heaven or hell is real, the point about it is to share the message of living, right? Share the message of living so that if anything happens, if hell actually exists, well, so be it. If heaven exists, so be it, right? So you don't want to make that a issue, right? So it's not that you're living a good life to go to paradise, you know. If you do bad deeds, oh, you go to hell, right? Sharing the concept of living a good life while you're here, so that whether heaven or hell exists is inconsequential to you, right? Living a righteous life so that whether heaven or hell exists does not matter to you, right? So that is the point we want to get at, to do things on earth that are right, such that who cares if heaven exists and who cares if hell exists, right? So that's the message. Share the message of living on earth right? So that is actually the next message in itself, right? Sharing knowledge or experience after having acquired it, right? That is the next concept of the humility cultivation, getting your heart space right to share scriptural wisdom, knowledge, information, right? You want to get to a point where you're saying, hey, my heart is fine enough to put this out in the world, right? So that's all. And trying to rid ourselves of hypocrisy, right? So people might, this is like a word that we throw around loosely, like this person's a hypocrite, I'm a hypocrite, he's a hypocrite, she's a hypocrite, he's a hypocrite, right? So is a lot. Not being a hypocrite takes a lot of work, right? It takes a lot of inner work, which I'll talk about in another video when we talk about consciousness and so on. But not being a hypocrite is a lot of work, right? The process of not being a hypocrite takes a lot of work to do, right? And maybe if we have different lives, right, it might even take lifetimes, right, to get to a point where you are not a hypocrite, right? So that is the journey, and it's a very hard journey to not be a hypocrite, right? So not only do we want to share the information that we acquire, and this don't have to be on social media, it could be to any person you meet on the street, whatever, right? But to actually get involved in life itself, because anybody could sit down in a room, read knowledge, come on social media, post it like what I'm doing here, right? But that isolation thing might tend to have a worse of impact on us in the long term, right? So we want to get a little bit more involved and actively try to create the world that we want to see, right? Participation, true active participation, right? So simple, the simplest of things, right? Don't litter. Teach your child not to litter, right? If you're a parent, people, I don't know, you don't have to be a parent to share parenting tips, right? So it's the simple things like that that makes the world a better place, right? You're in your community, you see some rubbish outside, you just pick it up, right? You don't have to do any grand big gesture, you don't have to do any grand big deal, right? And then teach people to not to do that, right? So in Trinidad and wherever else in the world, you'll see big do litter sign and rubbish right underneath it, right? So you want to, that culture, eliminate that, and I'm not even saying alleviate, eliminate that culture, right? That is the point that we want to get at, to create a better society, that's all, right? So not only coming online sharing knowledge, but active participation and the little basic things, right? The little basic things that do not so we rather go on Facebook and comment, oh, prime minister is prime minister that, whoever the prime minister is, who cares, right? But let us, including those ministers and whoever it is, everybody take a more active role in actually, you see some rubbish in your school, pick it up and then say, hey, this is the last time I'm doing this. Let people take responsibility for their mistakes, right? So accountability again is a big deal. Having people, you don't want to always be picking up people rubbish, right? Do your part, and it's as simple as that. Do your part, right? Do your part. Striving not to be a hypocrite is simply doing your part in creating the world that you want to see, right? If your job is to take up rubbish, that is your job, right? Until if you want to create a different environment for yourself, right? If your job is to share knowledge, disseminate knowledge, then do that. But also remember that there's a world outside there. There's an active participating world, and you don't have to be absorbed in that world to participate in it, right? You don't have to get fully integrated and attached to the world to be a participant in creating the environment that you want to see, right? So that's just the message of today, to not to be striving in the cause of betterment, right? Not to be a hypocrite, one, and just put in whatever little information that you know out into the world to create a simpler, better, productive, healthier environment, both on the outside world and both within our own self, right? And yeah, I will watch back my own video a few times because I learn from myself, right? Which we all should do, right? Learn from ourselves, right? And a third thing, to not to bother about views and so on, right? If you comment online to share knowledge, right? Knowledge will reach whoever it has to reach, right? If you put a particular video out there, right, that will reach whoever it needs to hear it, right? Whoever needs to hear whatever you have to say, it will reach that person, right? So take care.